Hi and welcome to another narration presented by yours truly, Cryptids Roost. Please be so kind as to throat punch the like button and smack the ass of the subscription button as well. And remember to tap the notification bell and then select all. That way you'll receive all notifications each time I upload a new video. Oh, and don't forget to share the video far and wide. This will all help with YouTube's algorithm and will help promote the channel more. If you enjoy listening to the following story, be sure to pop over to the author's Reddit profile and drop them a line, or even give them a glowing review. I'm sure they would appreciate it. The link to their Reddit profile will be below in the description. So grab your coffee, sit back and enjoy the show. And don't forget, where fear is, happiness is not. I inherited an old psychiatric hospital from my grandfather, part 2. This fantastic story is written by So Lonely 200, a wonderful author over on Reddit's NoSleep subreddit. Hey everyone, Max here. I'm alive, for better or for worse. Since my last post, I took the liberty of having a security system, including cameras, installed on the property. My family, while not exactly billionaires, is still quite wealthy, so it was no hassle, expenses wise. Besides my weird experience on the 4th floor, I wanted to make sure no one was going to break in. With all the urban legends surrounding the Blackwell, the place was a bit of a rite of passage for teens, daring their friends to break into the old asylum and bring back some items related to the hospital's dark history. But with my discovery in the basement, coupled with my efforts to actually clean the place as best I could, it was in my best interest, and that of any would-be trespassers, to keep them out. I've been avoiding the 4th floor ever since my experience there. Dream or not, there wasn't a chance I was going there alone again. I spend most nights here now, in the basement. I've had the place furnished, and now it's a man cave of sorts. Before any furnishings or man cave making, I erected a door between the basement and the hidden cell block, which I took to calling the Phantom Zone, after Superman comics. I put a heavy padlock on the door, just to be safe. At night, some of them scream from within their prisons for hours at the time. They bang on the door, hurl obscenities, and yell promises of pain to come my way. During these, I venture once again to the other floors. I noticed over the past few days that the upper levels tend to be active at night. Phantom chains rattle in the cell blocks, or the temperature dropping by several degrees in the staff quarters. At least twice I've seen the silhouette of a hanging body dangling precariously from a ceiling fixture. Of course, when I look at where the shadow is being cast from, I find nothing. The worst area, however, is floor 13. Ironic, I know. I hear screams, laughter and crying from within the cells of floor 13 some nights. I feel a phantom hand clutch my shoulder as I walk past the darkened rooms. And the worst part is the smell. Sizzling flesh and copper. Occasionally I'd see flashes of light from one of the rooms on floor 13. When I'm not walking the grounds, I'm in the archives. I've read many of the files contained here, the ones not destroyed by age, water or rats anyway. In 1919, a man suffering from shell shock murdered his family, claiming a spectre of war forced him to do it. He was sent here for treatment after a court ruled him insane and unfit for trial. In 1956, a man suffering from Red syndrome, i.e. a suspected communist, was treated with electroconvulsive therapy and later a full frontal lobotomy. During the Spanish flu epidemic of 1918, the hospital also treated sufferers of the H1N1 virus. By the hospital's own count, over 1,000 people succumbed to the illness. Then there were the patient interviews. Most of the interviews are harmless enough, just a rudimentary checkup. But others, well, I'll just let you read for yourself. Here's a transcript of one. Interview transcript. This is Dr. Samuel Andrews of the Blackwell Psychiatric Hospital.
The date is October 14th, 1934. I am interviewing Joseph King, sent to Blackwell due to a psychosis of indeterminate origin. Good morning, Mr. King. Patient remained silent. All right then. Joseph, at the end of our last session, you mentioned a living shadow. I'd like you to elaborate on that. Watching. Always watching. I beg your pardon? It watches. Always watches. Never stops. Never blinks. I see. Could you describe this shadow for me? Tall. Looks like a man, but has no face. Made of the night sky. It stands at the edge of nothing and everything, and it's always watching. How long have you seen this shadow, Joseph? Since I was a babe. It was always watching me. Never spoke, just watched. Sounds of shuffling, then an unknown voice giggles. Dr. Andrews seemed to either disregard it or not hear it. When's the last time you saw it? Always there. There now. Where? Dr. Andrews begins to gurgle, and the sound of a snap, like a bone being broken, is heard. Joseph King begins laughing. Guess it was hungry. There's sounds of meat being eaten, followed by shouting 10 minutes later. The interview concludes with a new voice. Cause of death was the breaking of the neck at the base of the skull. We still don't know how Joseph King did it, as he was in restraints when we found him. He claims a shadow did it. I recommend he be given the electroconvulsive therapy, and if no improvement is seen within 3 months or so, euthanasia. I shall bring this to Director Blackwell at once. We are still looking for the missing parts of Dr. Andrews. The tapes end there. After hearing this, I did some digging through the archives, but found no records of Joseph King having been treated here. Oh, I managed to get the elevator working, so no more having to walk flights of stairs to patrol each floor. Gotta find silver linings, you know. Also helps me keep the place somewhat clean. I was up on floor 5, getting some sleep, when I was awoken by a loud crash, then a blood-curdling scream. I ran up to the former staff quarters to the hall, and found myself once again in the stark white hallway. This time, however, I was on floor 13, as indicated by a plaque by the door, leading to the stairwell. A figure, wearing a nurse's uniform, exited the room behind me. I assume it was a woman, but her face was smudged for the lack of a better term. It was like someone had painted her, then smeared her face with her thumb. It's hard to describe. She grabbed my arm roughly, and it was then I noticed I was in a patient gown. Screams filled the hall as she led me to the elevator. I found myself unable to break away from her grip. The doors opened, revealing 2 more figures, seemingly large males. They forcibly shoved me on a gurney and tightened the restraints so much I could feel my wrists start to bleed from the pressure. She pressed a button. Floor 4. The elevator began descending and the beings began conversing. I can't understand what they said. It's like they were sprouting gibberish with inflections of tone indicating conversation. The elevator dinged, indicating we arrived at our destination. She wheeled me out with aid from the 2 men. They led me down the hall and turned me into a medical office. Another figure in a blood-splattered apron and lab coat nodded towards the nurse and the men, who then left. He then said something to me, or I think it did. It was more gibberish. He picked up a small metal spike and hammer from a table. I heard more screams, but now they were mixed in with laughter. He placed the spike above my eyebrow. I struggled and I begged him to stop, but he either didn't hear me or didn't care. He brought the hammer down and I felt the spike pierce my skull and I let out a scream. The pain stopped, but I felt blood trickle down my forehead. I was back in the room on floor 5. Standing upright, my clothes were replaced by a dirty, barely held together patient gown. Running down to the basement to grab my stuff, I was leaving right then, but I paused in the midst of my panic. I felt a breeze and heard giggles of the 13. The door was open. I had locked it shut, I was sure. I looked into the room for any signs of intruders. but the hole and its cells were untouched. Or so I thought. Because as I investigated and made sure all the cells were locked, I noticed cell number 34, while still locked, was empty. I didn't bother to investigate further. I ran up the stairs of the basement and flung the front door open with all my might. But instead of seeing the skyline of the town below, I instead found myself staring down a stark white corridor. I almost vomited and I felt my heart beating rapidly. My phone began ringing, bringing me out of my fear-induced haze. It was an unknown caller. Hesitantly, I put the phone to my ear, hearing raspy breathing as I did so. Hello? My own voice responded. No way out. Then it hung up. The front door slammed shut in front of me. I tried to open it, but it wouldn't budge. I slammed all of my weight against the door, but nothing. I was trapped. I pounded desperately on the door, screaming for help. I tried calling 911, but the line was busy. I haven't slept since then, because I know I'm not alone here. If you guys have any ideas, I'd love to hear them. I don't know what to do. Anyway, my phone's battery is getting low, so I'll update you guys later. The place still has power, so I can at least charge it. Silver linings, right? Day 2 of being trapped in Blackwell, or I assume it's day 2. It's, according to my phone, 11 AM, but the sun hasn't come up. I haven't slept since last night. I've holed up in floor 9. Like I said, it has no dark history as far as I'm aware. I've rationed what little food I have, but I still only have enough for a few days at most. Occasionally I'll hear a door slam or a scream from another floor. Sometimes out of the corner of my eyes I'll see movement, a shadow that isn't there, or a flash of blue light. I'll hear a voice whisper, "Help us," in my ear. I've seen cell number 34's escapee, who I've taken to call in Doc. He walks the halls, humming a tune to himself. He occasionally says something to himself, but I can never understand it. Today, when I was using the elevator, I noticed there were now 25 floors, according to the elevator buttons. I'm still debating going to those floors. That's not the only change. By my count, there are now 150 cells on floors 7 and 8, 300 in total, all empty. The stairwell connecting each floor, meanwhile, seems downright endless, and I can hear a young girl crying at the bottom. I can still use it to traverse the building, but it loops, it seems like. I've gone down 30 flights today, and once I've hit the bottom floor, it looped back to floor 25. I stepped out at floor 20 and went down via the elevator. I'm going to get some rest on floor 9. Sorry to cut this update short. I'll see you guys.
Don't forget, if you enjoyed that story, be sure to pop over to the author's Reddit profile and drop them a line, or even give them a glowing review. I'm sure they really would appreciate it. The link to their Reddit profile will be below in the description. Don't forget to check out the merch store. The link will be in the description and also in the video thumbnail. And if you'd like an honourable mention, send in a snapshot of yourself with your purchase and I'll feature it in one of the videos. Have you written a creepypasta story you would like me to narrate? Have you had any cryptid sightings, paranormal or supernatural encounters, or even had a creepy or terrifying situation you would like to share? Well, I now have my very own subreddit community where you can submit your stories. The link for that is also in the thumbnail as well as below in the description. You can submit your stories there, or you can send them to cryptidsroost@gmail.com. If you wish to remain anonymous, that's fine with me. Now I also have a Facebook group, Twitter, Reddit and Discord. And if you'd like to support the channel and help make it grow, my PayPal is paypal.me/cryptidsroost. If you wish to remain anonymous, that's fine with me. I also have a Facebook group, Twitter, Reddit and Discord. And if you would like to support the channel and help make it grow, my PayPal is paypal.me/cryptidsroost. And any and all donations would be gratefully received. Again, that will also be below. And don't forget, where fear is, happiness is not.